Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm delighted for the third or fourth time, I can't remember,
I'm not
to
sure.
have the executive director of the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, which I said right.
That's
Can you
correct.
believe that? After
Yes,
four
sir.
times, I've learned how to say it. Back on our show because I need some answers, as do our viewing audience members, about where we are. We've read some things in the paper that there's been a modicum of movement in a forward direction. Can you break it down and talk a little bit about what the commission is doing and what has happened that makes people think that one day they'll be able to acquire medical cannabis?
Okay. Well, from the time we started, as you know, we've had litigation, and
I had black hair when we started.
yeah, I had hair. We have continuing litigation, but thanks to the Court of Civil Appeals, we have been provided an opportunity to move forward. The investigative hearing process has been one of the big stumbling blocks, I guess the main big stumbling block.
Who does that investigative hearing? There's a panel of people?
No. First, we got to award the licenses, and then we issue the licenses. And then if anybody is unsatisfied with the results of that, that's where the judicial opportunity comes into play. In simplified form.
So what he just said, up until that point, those proceedings are in what's called the administrative department.
Right.
Not in the court system.
Right, in Administrative Procedures Act.
Yeah.
Well, a number of the plaintiffs, if not all the plaintiffs, there's 5 lawsuits, have wanted to reverse that. And finally, the Court of Civil Appeals said, no, you're going to do it like the law says, the legislature says you're going to do it. Yeah, imagine. So anyway, we have finally gotten there. We've already issued licenses in 4 of the 6 categories. And that's the cultivator, the transporter, the processor,
and the quality control
and
person.
the lab, right.
Yeah.
Right.
What do they call them?
We just call it the lab. State certified lab. The other 2 are the dispensaries and the integrators. The integrator is the bigger one because the holders of that license get to do everything.
Right.
The others are kind of self-explanatory. So anyway, that's where we are. And
so we've got everything in place but the integrated licenses.
And dispensaries.
And what comes first? You'd have to have an integrated license to have a dispensary.
Yeah, but also you got dispensaries that are licensed separate from the integrator licenses.
Okay.
So we've already started the investigative hearing process for the dispensaries.
Now, we're talking about 31 dispensaries statewide, if I recall.
I believe that's right, with the dispensary licenses.
Yeah.
So now we're in the process of identifying an administrative law judge and contracting with him to start the investigative hearing process with the integrators.
So when you say investigative hearing process, what are we investigating? Whether they're qualified, whether they know what they're doing, whether they're fly-by-night, do they have any criminal history or stuff like that?
As you remember, with the integrator, the commission can only issue 5 licenses.
I understand.
So we had 38 applicants initially. Now that's dropped down. I think there are only 12 or 13 that have requested the investigative hearing. So
those would be 12 or 13, including the 5? Would that include the 5?
Right, yeah, that's everybody that's got a chance or has had a chance at a license.
Okay.
It's still alive in the process.
Now, you have to keep in mind, these people that are trying to get these integrated licenses are out of pocket multiple millions of dollars already, and they've yet to crack the door on a revenue.
Well, the sad part is worse than that. Number one, the patients have not had access to the much needed medication, but the other license applicants and holders have had to pay licensing fees and all these expenses
Again,
because the
revenue.
litigation has got them just stymied.
So I probably misspoke. My focus was on the revenue missed, but the greater picture is the services that the medical cannabis is intended for. And they are the ones that are taking a hit, not financially, but on a personal level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when do the investigative hearings start?
The investigative hearing process has already started with the dispensaries, and that entails a lot of preliminary work with information and documentation that those who have requested the investigative hearing have to supply to the hearing officer.
And for example, just one or two items that they have to provide.
Well,
Financial statement, I bet.
yeah, and I want everybody to understand that when we get to this administrative hearing process, it's basically out of the commission and the staff's hands. It's all once we reach that process and have an investigative hearing officer, we give him a list of the names and addresses and contact information for those that'll be participating, and then it's up to them to get together and work it out and set up a schedule, and he dictates what they're required to supply.
Well, when you say investigative hearing, we're not talking about a panel of people. We're talking about one person
Right.
who sits and makes judgment on these 12 or 13 people.
That's right.
Whew. That's a responsibility.
And then when we get through that process, ultimately it's still up to the commission to make a determination on who gets those 5 licenses.
All right. We're going to take a short break. We're getting there. Just like this show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for staying with us through that commercial break. And we're trying to fine tune exactly where we are in the process of getting medical cannabis to the state of Alabama. We've got it down to where 12 or 13 people are being subjected to an investigation by an administrative law judge who will then submit back to the commission. The commission is not involved in the investigative process. His final 5 picks are hit all 12 or 13. And
Well,
y'all pick from the 12 or 13.
Yeah, well, it'll come from that group that participates in the investigative hearing process.
So you won't be given 5 names. You'll be given more than 5 names.
Well, again, that's going to be up to the hearing officer to decide how he wants to do it. He may want to say, these are the top 5 I recommend. These are the top 10. Any of them are suitable.
He's got discretion.
Right, broad discretion, because it's a contested hearing.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Where does it take place?
Again, we're not sure.
And
The ones within the dispensaries, I can tell you, take place in Montgomery.
is it open to the public?
No.
Okay. So you get handed a list, let's say, of X number of people. Then what happens?
Well, then the commission goes back and goes back through everything, all the information they have had at their disposal, and makes a decision on the 5 that they think most suitable to be awarded those 5 licenses.
All right. Now that decision gets made. 5 licenses get approved by the commission. Hopefully there are no more lawyers out there that want to put the brakes on it. But as you know, if you can pay a filing fee, you can get in the court system.
We've seen a little of that.
Yep. And so now we have, in a perfect world, 5 integrated licenses at that point that have been blessed by y'all, and no lawsuits have been filed. Roughly how much time do you expect the administrative investigative process to take place, and then your activities as the commission takes place to eat up? How much time between those two things?
Yeah.
Ballpark.
Okay. Well, the dispensaries, that process is already underway, and that's going to be a simpler one because much less information than the integrators, which is extensive information. The integrator one has still got to go before contract review to hire the contract with the administrative law judge. Then he's got to go through his process, and this will be the most lengthy for several reasons. First of all, because there are a lot more people that have requested an investigative hearing, and I think it's 12. I think one withdrew. But anyway, so then he's got to decide on all the information he wants to accumulate before he's ready to start the hearing process, or you might say the trial.
Yeah,
process.
but I'm asking for a timeline.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stick my.
And I'm not holding it to
yeah, way out and say.
We know not to hold you to any timeline.
Yeah, the best answer is tell me how many more lawsuits. But anyway, I think there's a good opportunity that by the end of this year we can be in business.
Okay.
Once the final licenses are issued, the licensee has 60 days to be in business.
Okay, they're required.
Right, that's part of the legislation. And meantime, our staff will be doing inspections and working with them on being sure that they're coming along in an orderly fashion and that they'll be ready to go.
And the dispensary process is already ongoing parallel to this integrated license process.
The dispensaries will be finished well before the integrated.
Yeah, and we're talking 31 statewide, so they're going to be scattered about, but probably focused around the major metropolitan areas.
The 31, assuming that's exactly the right number, is
I've interviewed you enough times to remember that.
Yeah, I think that's the total. But the license holders will only be like 4 licensees, and they have each licensee can open 3 or 4 dispensaries around the state. So that's where that number comes from. Each one of them doesn't have to be licensed.
So there's a limited number of authorized dispensaries, but they can have multiple locations.
Right, with a number on them.
With a cap.
Right.
Okay.
And that's another one of the problems with all of this delay in litigation is because all these people going in, when they made the application, they had all of these things ready to go. Well, you can't sit there and pay leases and, remodel property or whatever you have to do to be ready to go. And that's just with the dispensary side of it.
Well, and because it's seed to sale, I suspect somewhere in the state of Alabama, underneath some grow house tent, there is cannabis being grown as we speak, I would think.
Oh, yeah, the cultivators are already growing, some of them at least. Yeah. Gambling it within a reasonable time, they're going to be able to sell the product. I mean, you can't keep doing that forever.
No, because you might have to throw stuff away.
Yeah.
Or burn it or whatever. Right. Is there some provision in the law for
it is
destruction
through the commission? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there are rules that regulate that.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to talk when we come back from break about this recent clamor about what our legislative body did with the hemp products and how that may or may not affect what your group is engaged in. I think I have a handle on what the legislative body did that has caused quite an uproar. And our governor didn't have the courage to veto the law and has no intention of calling a special session. I did notice our legislative session really didn't do much until like the last 2 weeks. Is that common?
It is common, really.
Then they get
less prevalent in more recent years, actually.
Yeah. Well,
because they've had more money, probably. And I've been in the legislature, so I
better them than me. We'll be right back. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. This is John McMillan with the Medical Cannabis Commission. We're talking about all the hurdles that we've had to overcome to get to the end result, and you must have an awful lot of patience. I know your wife's in the audience here, but does he have a lot of patience?
Our commission and staff has a strong commitment to making this available to the patients in Alabama that need it. That's my take.
God bless you. So recently we had this legislation pass that bans hemp to some degree, but the way I read it was it shifted the regulatory part of it out of the Department of Agriculture and into the Alabama Beverage Control Board. Is that an accurate statement?
Well, sort of. It wouldn't go because this goes much further.
Typical.
The Department of Agriculture and Industry is only involved in the cultivation side of it with hemp and with the cannabis to a degree. They passed legislation to really kind of get themselves back out of it. But let me say this:
to get the hemp
the
people
Department of Agriculture
want it out of the cannabis
right,
business.
Yeah.
They didn't want to have to deal with that.
Right. They're still responsible for the hemp side of it.
Yeah.
But most of this stuff's coming in from out of state, or a whole lot of it is.
That we see in convenience stores.
That you see in the filling stations and everywhere you go.
Cans. They got it by can.
And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So this is me talking now. My opinion, we definitely needed regulation and quality control and some of the things that they're tried to address in this legislation. And I think probably they did. Whether it went too far or not in some areas, I don't know. I was not involved in it. We got our plate full. I think a lot of Representative Whitt and Senator Melson, and I did periodically as I saw things come across my desk that I thought they would be interesting and helpful, I did forward that to them. That's really been my only involvement. But I appreciate their intent, and as I said, we definitely it's been out of hand. Even smokables, which we don't even allow for the medical side of it.
Yeah, no, it's everywhere. So now it's going to be regulated much akin to tobacco products, perhaps.
Similar, yeah. Probably really more stringent than that. As I said,
it's still on the shelves.
Yeah. Well, July the 1st was the first date for some of it, and then there's another date, it's January 1st for some of it.
For those of you who do not know, today is July 2nd.
That's correct.
That we're doing this taping, although you are watching it probably sometime in August. But
Okay.
So by August, do you think you'll have your administrative investigations done?
No.
That's too short of a fuse.
I think dispensaries will be probably, and this is just a wild guess because, again, that's out of our hands, as it should be. Probably maybe even November and more near the end of the year, if not the first of next year with the integrators.
And when did this law pass?
May of 21.
So we will be 5 years down the road.
That's right. And that's a terrible thing. And I wish something would have worked out different. But at the
other
same time,
states experience this?
Yeah, that's my point. Florida's 9 years, and I think they just got through. Georgia, maybe it's even more than that, and they're still struggling with litigation. Mississippi, for example, just threw it wide open and gave a license to everybody that wanted one, and that obviously creates a supply-demand situation. So,
but didn't they pull back on that in Mississippi?
I don't think so.
So is it recreational in Mississippi?
No.
Or just medical?
The medical cannabis gave license. They didn't have a 5-person cap or 5 license cap. They just pretty much gave a license to everybody that applied for one, as I understand it, and they have half the population of Alabama.
So I know Florida, for example, because one of our integrated potential licensees is TrueLeave, which is a Canadian corporation.
Very large company.
And they were hoping there was legislation pending to go recreational in Florida.
Right, that's correct.
That failed.
But it'll be back.
It'll be back, and Trulieve will be glad to hear that. I don't know how much holding power they have. They must have a lot. They're out of Canada. But do you foresee, as much trouble as we've had going medical, do you foresee that after we're able to establish that the world's not going to burn up, if we start dispensing medical cannabis, that we might consider recreational at some point? Or are we just too puritanical for that? That's me speaking.
Yeah, in my opinion, it'd be a long time. And there's a whole other thing that can impact every bit of this, and that's what's Congress going to do. You know, they're looking at declassifying cannabis instead of having it in the same classification as cocaine and fentanyl and stuff like that.
For those of you that don't know it, cannabis is considered having no medical purpose. Therefore, it is a Schedule I narcotic.
Called marijuana.
Yeah, called marijuana. And opioids, Lortabs, which is heroin, which has created incredible problems for our society, are Schedule III controlled substances. So if you're looking for logic, you're not going to find it here.
That's right.
I've got a guest coming on shortly that's going to talk about drug court. We're out of time, but I'm really curious to see how, when we get up and running, the impact of that on programs such as a drug court and the drug testing that's required. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. It's always good to be with you.
And it always goes by way too fast. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for being with us. We will see you next Sunday.